Guys, it's Sarah with Grassroots Evolution Tarot, and I'm here today to bring you a monthly message for Gemini. This is for June 2023. Keep in mind it's general. Take what you feel resonates, disregard the rest, go about today, and know that no matter what messages come through, it's still up to you, your active free will, the choices you make, and the steps you take in your world to get whatever fulfillment it is you'd like to see. To me, this is personal freedom, it's personal power, and my friends, it's something that lies at the tips of your fingers, the soles of your feet, so use this power to do wisely. For all my subscribers, I love you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you guys for being here. You mean the world to me. I mean that. And if you're new to my channel, welcome. Thanks for stopping by. If this message resonates and you'd like to see more, please hit subscribe. I'd love to have you guys along this ride. So I'm just going to take a moment to call on Archangel Michael, Archangel Metatron, my team of light, as well as any of your spirit guides or my spirit guides that would be here for the highest good of the entire collective. I ask them to join us. I ask them to guide, guard, bless, and protect myself, this reading, and any of you who would ask for it, to use me as the clearest channel possible, delivering messages that are for the most far-reaching, but only for the highest good of everyone involved. I'm just going to grab the water, guys. Sorry. Didn't think this one through fully. So, before we get in to the tarot today, I have the Messages of Life Tarot Oracle by Mario Duguay. Do also want to show you the tarot I'm using today. I think it's its debut on this channel, but it might not be. I might have used it once before. It's the Nightmare Before Christmas tarot. And I also have with me as a parting message the messages from the mermaids. And I felt really called to do this one today. So let's see what we get. So a little bit of spiritual advice you'd like Gemini to know. Know as well that even though I've kind of time-stamped it for June, this message could be something that it just wants to come through in June. It may be something that resonates at a different time, has already happened. For some of you, I even heard September, okay? So I discover who I am. And what I heard is, I think they're saying is you have been in this mode or time of self-discovery. But what I heard is this month, they're like, it's going to peak. There's so much you're going to discover about yourself, so many avenues of different, what I heard is prospects and different ideas, things that maybe you haven't thought about before. I also heard untouched territory for you. So there could be a lot of new hobbies that you want to take up over the summer, throughout this month, but it is really important that if you're feeling drawn to different things, go for it. Take that risk, go and do it, because this is also what I heard as little spirit nudges. So I'm going to read the card to you and we'll see what it says. It says, I discover who I am. I no longer put myself down or see myself as having limitations. I discover my inner wealth and become aware of my true self. I am in touch with all of my needs and I am not concerned about the judgments of others. I marvel at all the beauty and all the possibilities available to me as a being of light. I learn to recognize what is divine in me. I want to show you guys, we've got the spirit or the higher self up here. We've got this earthly physical, and then we've got this middle part. And it looks like a dove kind of coming out, but it's really important because if you can see the aura shining and the light coming out of her, Spirit's like, there's a few different things, because again, they want you to recognize that divine light within you, your God essence, your God source, the part of us that is connected to the Almighty, right? That it is within you. So I just want to say this, I'm not trying to take this from a religious standpoint, okay? But I went with my friend today and we were driving by a church that said something along the lines of, if God is your co-pilot, switch seats. And it's like, okay, well, don't we feel like we should be in the driver's side here? But I want you to kind of change that around and be like, Spirit, we want Spirit to lead us. We are absolutely in the driver's seat here. But Spirit, what I heard is Spirit's leading us to things, and this is Spirit-led. So they're reminding me of this, because while you definitely have control of the wheel, control of the reins, and it's really reminding you again to just be led by Spirit, to be led by what feels right to you, that in that way, I mean, you're the driving force, right? I don't necessarily think we need to switch seats, because we're the only ones that can make things happen, right? What I heard is God, Spirit, Source, Divine, the Almighty, whatever we want to call it, there's huge power there, right? But on Earth, all humans, we have free will. So we can put God in the driver's seat, sure. But without our active free will, is anything going to happen? Maybe not. So there's just, again, that's something that it came to me, and it was one of these things that when my girlfriend and I both saw it, we're like, excuse me, shouldn't we be in the driver's seat? And I mean, it really depends on your point of view and everything like that, but we can't just co-pilot and only be here for when we're absolutely needed in our life. We need to take charge, hold those reins, put the pedal to the metal, and be the driving force between what we want and our hopes and dreams, and ask Spirit for help along the way. So I want to just look at one more here, the bottom, that says all that is. And it says, I find life and love in all that is. I'm aware of my presence of God in all or of the presence of God in all things. Each tiny part of the universe is actually an expression of love. I raise my thoughts beyond the limits of my beliefs and my convictions to open myself to the magic and the simplicity of all that is. I marvel at this splendor, which in reality is part of me. They're bringing me back as well to that whole co-pilot switch seat things. There are times for sure that even if we are in that driver's seat and we're going towards our goals, Spirit could protect us and stop that from happening. So it is really, really important right here is just really trust yourself, trust in the divine. Know that even though it seems cliche to happen, things happen for a reason. They're giving me kind of the example of, like, I'm sure at this point many of us have had breakups in our life, and at the time that it happened, we felt devastated. We felt we would never get over this, the loss of this person, this job, this situation, whatever it is. It just seems so, they're saying, like, insurmountable. It's just so big, right? And so heavy on the heart that we never think we'll get over it. But one day we do. And all of a sudden we're like, had Spirit let this happen, I would have had way more heartache. I would have had way more hardship. So there is all, what I heard is those blessings in disguise, and those things that hindsight is 20/20. Sometimes when we're looking back in hindsight, we've got a much clearer vision of what happened, what went wrong, things to work on next time, especially if this is going after a goal. They're giving me an example of school as well, okay? If some of us have went off to school, university, college, or even specific training for something, and what they're saying is, you may find that you're partway in here and it's something you thought you really, really wanted to do, and all of a sudden you're like, no, I don't want to do this. This is boring and it's not for me. I'm a Gemini too, guys, so I just wanted to say this as well. So when I went to university, I thought for sure I wanted to be a psychologist. All the way I wanted to go through. I was going to be a psychology major. And my first year I took psychology, and they lost me. I hated the class. It was one of the lowest marks I ever got in university other than statistics, because I stopped going, essentially. They explained homosexuality with rats and overcrowding and things that it was just at a point where I was watching it going, no, don't agree, and not going to do this again. Not saying psychology isn't important. It is so important. But for me, even though that's what I thought I wanted for years going in, I changed my mind and ended up doing sociology and women's studies because they interested me, and I just found my niche so much more, right, and such a broader spectrum instead of looking on sort of a more small individual scale. So for some of you, just know that you may want something so bad and you think you want it so bad, but then you change your mind, and you need to listen to your spirit nudges and to your own internal cues. So Spirit here is saying, I no longer put myself down or see myself as having limitations. Do not see that, first off, if there's something you're doing that's not working anymore, we don't need to keep doing it because we've started and we see that, there's only one way to do this. There's many different ways to accomplish the same goal. And it just, what I heard is it's going to take time. So look at all of the possibilities and do what you need to do without worrying about judgments of others, what other people are going to say. So they're giving me an example too, if you switch majors partway through, or your second year, you decide, or third year, because usually you have to declare major by the second year, right? If you change your mind and you're like, no, I'm not doing this, and you have to stay in school and a year longer or something like that, don't don't take too much, what I heard is criticism, okay? Don't take it too much to heart. You may have parents or people like this upset because you're not following through with this particular thing. But again, if it's not right for you and you're following through because that's what's expected of you, you are not listening to your heart, right? We're doing something simply because we don't want to upset someone else. So I'm going to move into the tarot and see what they have for us right now, please. Each tiny part of the universe is actually an expression of love. I raise my thoughts beyond the limits of my beliefs and convictions to open myself to the magic, the simplicity and beauty of all that is. I marvel at this splendor which in reality is part of me. You are splendid. You are magnificent. And what I also heard is you're part of God's plan. You're part of Spirit's plan. There is a bigger picture, as well as what I heard is that you may not see right now, but again, it's following your heart. Birds also may be super important. Gemini, we're air signs, right? So a lot of times, these beautiful flying creatures, if you're outside and you see a bird you haven't seen ever before, really pay attention to it. If you are outside or, inside, whatever you're doing, if you're thinking about certain things and then all of a sudden a bird appears or they make themselves very squawky and noisy, there's a few things. Pay attention to what you were thinking, and when this bird showed up, did it feel like confirmation or did it feel like, hey, back off? They're also putting in that it may be really important to check out like an animal. There's a book called Animal Speak, but you can also go on, I think it's Ted Andrews, but you can also go and look online and just look for the animal totem and what it means, because honestly there's a lot of messages here with these birds. And they're also, for some of you, that is picking up stuff in the ethers and kind of finding a way to be the middleman. What I heard is between spirit and this earthly plane. So animals definitely can be a big helper for us. This 9 of Presents, so this is the 9 of Pentacles, is in the reverse. I'm going to read you the book from this. I think this has a lot to do with the limits that these cards are talking about, that we need to release them. I'm getting, they're showing me again, I raise my thoughts beyond the limits of my beliefs and convictions to open myself to magic and simplicity and beauty in all that is. I feel like for some of you, it's going to be a real eye-opener once you start to, I'm going to say, let Spirit co-pilot, right? Once you finally, or if you have before, like, drop this idea of what is possible and move forward with faith that what is meant for you will happen, that you follow these spirit nudges. Spirit's giving me, like, they're telling me, and it's essentially true, like, when we fall into certain vibrations, whether it is a more positive, whether it's more negative, we are attracting this stuff to us. So what I'm hearing is you may find a huge difference if, rather than us getting down on ourselves, or again what this one says, I no longer put myself down or give myself limitations, maybe 3 positive affirmations or self-affirming affirmations in the morning. I am powerful. I am loved. And there is no limit to what I can achieve and accomplish, right? This is really important because I feel like this 9 of Presents in the reverse, this is something that we're still holding ourselves back, or what I also heard is we may not feel like we're worthy of this. Spirit has a plan. Again, we're part of a larger plan. So the 9 of Presents. This card reversed reminds you of your value. Don't sell yourself short. Make sure you are getting the compensation you deserve. Believe in your skills and abilities. What you have to offer is more important. Adjust accordingly. Don't sell yourself short. And it said, make sure you're getting the right compensation. For some of you, this could be job related, and you're not seeing the monetary gains in terms of value here. You're not seeing that as value. It could be that you think you need more, and this is where, for some of you, I heard this is ask for a wage. If you are self-employed, up your fee, because what I heard is people will pay it. So you have the Knight of Needles here, and this is air. This is definitely an air sign quality. In this particular case, this devil here, though, what I heard is try and avoid confusion, and it's going to be really important here with this Knight of Needles to take our time and think things through. You have the Two of Presents here as well, about being balanced. There's a bunch of cards here I'm going to take for you. We have Judgment has shown itself. We have the Page of Candles in the reverse. That does feel a bit of a delay, but again, I feel like it's because whatever action you're taking forward, you want it thought out and planned out. Have the Emperor in the reverse as well here. We have the Chariot, which could also be Cancer, something coming in by the end of June. So Cancer season happens about the 21st. So for some of you, could also be cuspers. I know I am. But I feel like there is movement, but it's not going to come until this Emperor needs to be flipped over. This Emperor needs to have confidence in themselves. Whether you identify as a man or a woman, it is not what it's about. There is a lot of masculine energy here, though, as well. So there could be just, whether you identify as masculine or feminine, this is a real call here for, though, we need to be in our masculine. We need to be in our masculine to be able to make this stuff happen. They're also saying, again, about our being in a feminine state of receptivity in terms of spirit, allowing ourselves to receive the messages that we are being that we're being given. But this also, to me, is something from the past, okay? Definitely with this Judgment card, this Two of Presents, and this Knight of Needles. There is something within our thoughts or the way we speak, a conversation that needs to happen to bring things back into balance. And to be honest, things need to be righted, truths need to be told. So with this Candles in the reverse, Emperor in the first, Chariot, we also have here the Lovers. Gemini, this is our card. It's absolutely beautiful. So this, with this too, this is both June showing up and part of July here. And you also have the Knight of Candles in reverse. Interesting that candles, that's our fire energy, our power to do. This month, it's saying hold back a little bit. So let's get a little bit of clarification on this. Why the reversals? Thank you. You get the Queen of Needles showing up here. So this is definitely us again, Gemini. We have the Seven of Needles. Confusion, possibly what I heard is lies and deception as well. The Four of Needles with resting. We have, again, the Ace of Candles. Another candle in the reverse. The Wheel of Fortune in reverse with the Five of Presents. Some of this, to be honest, feels to me like someone coming to you with an offer. It could be job, it could be love, it could be a lot of different things. It could be somebody coming to you. What I heard is time to admit they're wrong, because they know that whatever you have, whatever essence you have, it's desired. But I do feel like there's been some trickery. There's been, whoever this Emperor is, it doesn't feel like you, although it could be you if you're really, really doubting yourself. But it feels like someone who knows that a choice needs to be made, knows they need to move on. But I'm not seeing them having the internal strength at this point to move forward. And it is because they know, well, some changes need to be happening. And in terms of this too, this reminds me of garbage. There's stuff packed up. This Five of Presents, the Five of Pentacles, you often see someone being left out. Well, here we have, you know, a bunch of packages that aren't really wanted. There's definitely a cycle that has not ended because this judgment needs to come first. For some of you, this is definitely overthinking things as well. We're constantly questioning or looking at the options that we have, and Spirit here definitely feel like it's like, hey, take it easy. If there is something that's bothering you, if there's not a solution that you can do to fix it, Spirit's like, it really deserves to be out of your head. So there could be a few different things. One thing I'm hearing, okay, is if it's a repetitive thought pattern, or again, these belief systems, stuff from childhood even that we don't think we're good enough to do it. Spirit's really asking you to actively imagine those things being released. So one thing you can do is when you start to think those things, tell yourself, like, that's not our story, that's not our narrative. We do no longer believe that. And what I'm hearing is, like, imagine this thought being put up into a giant balloon and you're sending it off into space to be transmuted out to love. It's no longer welcome for you. It's no longer coming back. This energy is gone. You may have to do it a few times. They're also telling me, like, Reiki for the crown chakra. If you were wanting to go on YouTube and look that up, that might actually be very helpful too, in terms of just kind of clearing the head. Okay, for some of you guys as well, like Gemini, we're like, again, being an air sign, we're very intuitive and we pick up a lot. And I also heard you're picking up people's cues, you're picking up people's verbal cues, you're picking up people's kind of the energy that they're putting out there. And especially too, like, we do have a tendency to get up in our head and to just think things too overly much. So Spirit's like, you know what, we're going to let that go. Let's stop doubting yourself, because whatever you're going to do, it's going to be successful. And they're saying again, like, just remember that whatever you are discovering in this next kind of cycle is, recognize what is divine within you. So you have the truth and free spirit. Some of this feels like someone could be coming to you again with that truth, with that offer of judgment. It could definitely be in a romantic way with the Lover's card. I feel like for some of you, while you are discovering your truth in this time, it's also helping you to kind of free yourself from a lot of conventional thinking. Again, like I said, if it's about school, if it's about jobs, there's nothing physically tying you there. Change is possible, and you don't have to stay somewhere where you're not happy, you're not welcome, or you don't feel there's a possibility for growth. And again, if you're headed down one way and you're like, you know what though, I do not want to do this. This is not the profession I want to do. I want to switch. That's possible too. So pay attention to your truth and honor the free spirit within you. That is what I heard is screaming to get out, my friends. So this is what I have for you. I hope it's resonated. The bottom of the deck is discernment. Always practice your discernment in terms of, you know, spirit, in terms of thoughts and things like this that you get. For some of you, I am hearing like it may be really helpful for you to kind of block out distractions and block out other people's energy. So say, hey, Archangel Michael, Spirit, whoever you want to call in, please help me to see the truth within me, to focus on my truth, to allow me to feel free to make the decisions that feel right for me. Please help me use my own discernment about what is right for me. And also, I heard, this is what we want to ask too, is please help shield me from other people's kind of mental load. Because especially if we spend a lot of time with each other too, you can pick up stuff in the airwaves, right? I'm sure there's lots of times where you're hanging out with someone you spend a lot of time with and you're both thinking something similar, right? So this is also, energy's contagious. So if we're finding ourselves depleted, if we're finding ourselves thinking kind of crappy thoughts, but it seems to be more and more when we're around certain people, pay attention, use your discernment, and ask Spirit to kind of help clear this. It may also be really helpful to either use some Palo Santo or some sage. You could even use sage mist, or even just your intention, imagining around your aura that this white light is kind of repelling everything off and putting a bubble so you can remain autonomous in your energy. I love you all, mwah, and I will talk to you later. Bye, guys.